as a property owner in Florida, you have a magnificent law to benefit you. It's called the Florida Land Trust Act, Florida Statute 689.071. Now let me explain to you briefly what that means. That means that you have the magical ability to turn your real estate property into private, personal property. And with that comes these amazing set of rules and benefits. Benefit number one is you have to understand that most property in South Florida goes to probate for one reason or another. Either your will had a mistake, or the family is quibbling over the property, or something has become untoward at your death. I'm sorry to talk about death first, but that's the easiest one to deal with. If your property is in a land trust, then probate is not in question because you have a designated beneficial interest holder who immediately receives ownership of your property once you pass. Or you can designate it if you are incapacitated, that person immediately takes over as the beneficial interest holder. They are known as a successor beneficiary. This law was passed around 1962. And the history of the story, maybe the legend of it, is that once upon a time, the Disney company came to Palm Beach County, and they were going to buy a huge hunk of property on the western side of Florida's largest county, Palm Beach. What happened was somebody leaked the story, and speculators came along, and those speculators drove the price up, and the Disney organization left town. They weren't going to even mess with it. Then the story is that some Illinois folks came along, and the Illinois folks were lawyers, and the Illinois folks suggested to the Disney company that the problem was not that they were getting speculated on, is that they were known as being in there buying property, and the speculation occurred. So they suggested that if the Florida legislature passed a land trust act, it would result in the ability for the Disney company to come in and buy property in some other area as unknown buyers. That's the way it was back then. They passed the law. The Disney company went into the Orlando area and they bought 14 contiguous pieces of property. And that is now what you call Disney World, what we all call Disney World. That was directly resulting from Florida's Land Trust Act. The problem is that most people in the buying range of $300,000 to $600,000 have their names on their title, which makes you subject to what's called ancillary administration, which means somebody's got to come down here from wherever you originated from and take care of your property if you pass away or if you get incapacitated. That's not a good deal. It also takes care of injudicious lawsuits. So if someone's walking down by your house and they trip and fall, they can sue you, right? But they can't sue you if your property is in a land trust because you can't get blood out of a turnip. Most important to you as a property owner, with your name on the title, you cannot protect your equity whatsoever. A real estate agent like me can go into public records and find out exactly who you borrowed the money from, how much you borrowed, how much you owe, and what your equity is. I can do that, and I do that every day for buyers because I know exactly what I can negotiate when I know what you own in that property and what equity you hold. So I can negotiate against your equity because I know what it is. Okay, that's dumb. Nobody knows what's in your checking account. Nobody knows what's in your stock portfolio. Why should people know what's in the value of your home? Now, it doesn't take anything to convert your property to a land trust. In fact, if you go to hidemyhouse.com, I have a legal explanation of how it works for you. I have all the documents you need, or you simply just give me a call. My name is Mike Belgeri. I'm a real estate agent here in South Florida, and I'd be more than happy to help. I've converted, just last month, 9 properties for an investor to land trusts. It takes a few pieces of paper, but once those papers are done, you're done. Your property is moved off the public record. Even if you have homesteading going on, the law changed, I believe it was in 2008, to allow for homesteading. Even if you have a mortgage, you don't have to worry about your loan being called due, because federal law allows for what's known as an in vitro trust, which is what a land trust is, which means a living trust, to exempt you from the lender's call of mortgage due. And that's because you, as the property owner, become the beneficial interest holder of a property that's held by a trustee in trust for you. There is no ownership change. On the other hand, if you buy property and move it into an LLC or a corporation, you're going to have to pay $187 a month in renewal for your LLC privileges, and B, you're going to basically be selling the property from your own ownership to your own LLC ownership, and that will trigger a due on sale clause because you're actually selling the property, even if it's $1. So remember, Florida's Land Trust Act protects you, protects your equity, protects your progeny. You can even issue the property to your heirs under a tax distribution method, but that calls for an accountant. Now, I'm a real estate agent. I can give you the paperwork and I can teach you how to do it. This is a legal activity that you're going to perform. It's not intended to commit fraud. It does not bypass paying your taxes. It's a pass-through for you to pay the IRS. In fact, one of the documents is a Form 56 to the IRS. So enjoy your weekend. Well, we may not enjoy it because Hurricane Irma is sitting on us, but you should consider, if you have your name on your papers, and now you're probably getting your papers because you're putting them in plastic in protection for the arrival of Hurricane Irma here in South Florida. So take a look at it, see if your name's on the title. I will probably have called you because your name was on the title and you got a message from me that brought you to this video.